Oh no. How about now? That was a
Can
me.
y'all hear
That was a
us?
me problem.
We're going to
Can
wait
y'all
a
hear us
second.
now? Yeah, it's going to take a few seconds. No sound here either.
Okay,
We
there we
back?
go.
I am so sorry. Would everybody like to introduce themselves again?
Yes, because mine was bad. So
Yeah,
Mine
I'm
was too.
okay. I'm Roxanne. I'll start this time. I'm
Please.
Roxanne. You guys see me all the time. I'm back again, and I'm John's wife. I co-host all of our podcasts at Passionerdly with him, and am on most of these streams here at Quiett Gentleman Entertainment on Twitch.tv. You can find me on the interwebs at Rooworks, ROOWERKS, and you can find out about gaming and whatever random, inane stuff pops into my head at any time of the day. So here we go. I'm excited to play some spies tonight.
Awesome. All right. Alyssa.
Hey, y'all. I'm Alyssa, Appleton. You can find me across the interwebs on Twitter and Instagram at Alyssa Appleton, ALYSSA APPLETON, or here on Twitch as Brick and Switch.
Nice.
Yeah, BRICKANDSWITCH spelling.
Nice. Is that a Switch Nintendo, like Nintendo Switch reference, or just?
It's kind of anything.
Nice.
A Switchblade, a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Whatever I need it to be.
Whatever
on the
you
day.
need it to be.
That's right.
There we go. All right, and I guess that leaves Shawn.
hi, I'm Shawn Parks. I on a couple of different shows on the Quiet Gentleman Network. You can find me on Twitter at Bink26 and Instagram at Bink_26. And you'll find mostly game-related stuff and mini painting there.
Yep. All right, and my name is John, and I'm your GM for the evening. I will be running Spycraft. This is a D20-based system set in kind of a modern era. I feel like it fixes a lot of the issues that some people have with some of the D20 systems, but we're playing tonight a certain set that will be set in the 60s, and hence we are using a little bit of interesting filters, a little bit of interesting design. I hope you all really enjoy this game. We're going to get it started up here pretty soon. Be sure to chime in the, be sure to chime in chat, and we'll go from there. So
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. We've got people in there already and chatting with us. We appreciate it. And again, sorry about the sound malfunction. That was all on me. So.
All right. So let's
Ready
go.
when you are, boss.
Hey, I have stuff up and going, I believe. So let's go ahead.
You have some sounds for us?
Yeah.
Let me just find. No. Oh, there it is. All right.
All right. Everybody able to hear that?
Can you all hear that? Yeah, I think it's just quiet right now.
Yeah, David's saying it feels weird to watch and not play.
Yeah. Now you can't interact with the chat all night, John.
I try not to. So let's go ahead and start up our story. It has been 2 days. 2 days since the Director of Naval Intelligence dropped high-altitude photos suggesting that Russia was building a missile site in Cuba. And with little more than a nod from XCOM, you and your team were dispatched to get eyes on target, in definitive proof that the site exists. Since then, your liaison introduced you to Agent William Harvey, who began covertly inserting 9 other agents as well as your team to gain hard intel on the disposition of forces in Cuba. The final leg of your journey saw you covertly inserted via Navy Special Forces dispatched from the USS Essex by boat into the northern glades southeast of Havana after dark. The soldiers inform you they will maintain watch nearby, and this will be your extraction point. You're on your own. As a team, you travel for miles inland using what maps the CIA flyovers have gained. The first leg takes you through terrain that reminds you of the Florida Everglades. Then grass savannas with small copses of broadleaf trees, and finally to the edge of the jungle with a mountain range looming in the background. The maps describe a small listening station nearby. A simple raised outbuilding whose premises is illuminated by generator-driven lights and a large antenna showcasing a mixture of telephone and radio equipment. From there, wires overhead run deeper into the jungle, perhaps to your final destination. A small band of troops or workers have been pictured here as well, and there's also said to be a small jeep which sits quietly off a dirt road. If you wish to proceed and ultimately escape if your presence is revealed, you know that dealing with this listening station is your first step. Here and now, the smell of damp earth and wet detritus fills the air, as well as the telltale smell of tobacco on the breeze. Several guards patrol the area, unaware that our team lurks nearby. And so this is where we're going to go ahead and do our intros for everyone. I gave our players the option to do a dramatic intro. This is something I love to do in the games that I run, where I'm going to give them the opportunity to spotlight themselves and introduce their characters and how they're going to interact with this scene. I'm also giving them a little bit of free reign because I'm not going to make them do any roles for this. They get the opportunity to say, hey, this is my character and this is what I'm going to do.
Nice.
So, I think this is where we're going to go ahead and hand it over to the team.
All right, which one of y'all wants to go first, or I can go first?
Go
Either
ahead.
of you care?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
So Osprey is currently crouched low to the ground. She is a average build, or a woman of average build, with black hair pulled back into a bun and under a cap, and she is watching from the jungle foliage as a guard slowly paces the perimeter, about 15 yards, how about 15 feet away from where she is currently crouched. And as she watches him and sees and scans the area to make sure none of the other guards that are also doing perimeter or anything else are watching, she makes her move, and she moves forward, and she uses a garrote watch to immediately incapacitate and choke out the guard that who she was spying. And so she quietly takes him down with nary a peep, and then the camera zips around the building to our operative in the back. Hemlock.
I'm in the back.
Yeah, you're in the back.
I'm in the back. I'm also crouched quite low to the ground. I'm Alice Werner. Call me Hemlock. I don't like to go by my name. It reminds me of my brother who died in the 50s. He was in the Air Force. I wear one of his old Air Force button-downs, and I carry and wear most of the time his old aviator glasses over my own glasses because my vision is truly horrific. And I am watching by a ladder a soldier that's not quite paying attention, smoking a cigarette, kind of looking around, but not really that involved in anything. And I'm standing probably 12 feet away, or crouched in the grass, and I'm gripping a dart gun with a tranquilizer dart inside. And I look up, and I look at him, kind of watch him for a little bit, and I take my shot, and he goes down, and I stand, and I walk over to him, and very quietly, I lean down, and I say, "Boo, motherfucker." I climb the ladder up. There's an antenna on the top of the little building. And I go over and I crouch down and I kind of look over the edges. I can see, another soldier or two hanging out. I kind of grin. It's stupid. Stupid. And I take out a white cone generator and I put it by the antenna, and I get to work on jamming their signals.
Awesome.
Awesome. And are we on to the next player?
Agent Flint.
Yeah.
So Agent Flint, also, well, Riley, goes by Agent Flint, was about 10 or 15 feet away from Osprey and watched her as she silently took out the guard. He kind of stood up, dusted off his jeans, and slowly sauntered his way up to the front door of the building. Kind of looked around, make sure there's no one there, and took a deep breath, kind of kicked open the door, and in Spanish hollered out, "Oh no, the guards are down," and waited to see who was coming running, if anybody would come running out. About a minute after he shouted, someone came running out, and he took his gun and just clubbed him in the back of the head, dropping him. And took a peek around the door to see if there's anybody else coming, didn't see anybody, and waved Osprey forward so we could go into the building and see what we could find.
Awesome.
All right. The enemy guards are obviously all incapacitated at this point. The air is cool. The sound of fauna in the area and just the wind blowing through the trees. It is loud here. Louder than so much of the other areas y'all have moved through. But moving into the base, there is, of course, the table with a few chairs, one singular cot for any guard who is just taking a break or relaxing for a moment. It doesn't look like this is a place where they stay too often. But within the this building, they also find a few you see a setup for
Sorry, we have a dog that is going absolutely crazy suddenly.
yeah, for radios and also for a telephone exchange with only a few individual things. But for the most part, it's a very simple guard shack with all this sort of stuff in that as well.
Sorry about that. She's upset.
Yep.
So,
all right. So you move in, you found the cot, you found all the different equipment, both
Okay.
telephone and
Cool.
radio based. Looks to be the size of it and the scope of it. You're wondering if perhaps this is the interchange for a base further in.
okay. It looks like we might have to follow these wires that I saw outside to go somewhere else. But why did they have 5 people here?
Well, if this is an interchange, then this could be the linchpin to their communication, and they don't want it to go down.
Well, we could fix that. So you put
That's what Hemlock's doing up on the roof,
I would say
right?
you've got the jammer up there, but do we want to fiddle with some stuff inside here?
I can cause some havoc on it.
I mean, we could make this listening post pretty deaf, pretty quick.
You think that's going to alert them, though?
Maybe.
With the guards out, we can always take it out on the way by if everything goes well. If not, yeah, we might want to take it out right now.
The way that the wires were outside, could we follow that with the Jeep?
Yes, you could. There are elevated wires, and also looking outside, you see a large conduit, probably a good 6 inches across, wire conduit that seems to also run along the base of the jungle floor, also heading in the same direction.
We up with following it?
I'm up with following it.
Yeah, I lean over kind of the roof and just go, "Tsk. What do you got?"
I think we need
Nothing
to.
much.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on inside, so we're thinking about taking the Jeep and following these, or we could just follow on foot too, following these cables.
I think we should take the Jeep just to be on the safe side.
I
Quick
think
getaway.
we can take the Jeep.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can hotwire the Jeep.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, come on down.
I pick up my generator. And I hop down the ladder and come around.
Sweet.
It's a small 4-person seating Jeep, fairly easy to hotwire, but let's go ahead and do something with that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So, as far as skills go, what do you think you're going to use with that?
Mechanics?
Sounds good to me.
Assumedly.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no hot wire on here. There
know.
should be, though.
Yeah, there's no hot water. That is a 19.
Nice.
All right, for a 19, yes, you succeed. It doesn't take you long at all, and you have the Jeep going. So,
Just like our neighbors are also revving their big truck engine out there. So, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but we can.
you begin to use the Jeep, traveling further into the jungle and along some dirt roads. Let's go ahead and do some spot hidden, I believe is a skill that y'all have with this, or
It's
search.
search. Yeah.
Search.
Spot hidden is another game we played.
Yep.
Well, I've got spot too.
Yeah,
Oh,
spot.
do you? Is there spot?
Yes,
yeah,
there is.
There's spot. Yeah, there's spot and
Oh,
search.
okay. Well, spot is probably more like a notice.
Spot is more dealing with people and things that are being hidden, while search is
Okay.
more locating objects.
Okay, so we're doing search.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That is okay. I got a natural 20.
Ooh.
All right.
I got a 5.
I got a 27.
Nice. Yeah. So total mine was 25. Yeah.
All right.
Goodness.
Who was driving, by the way?
You know
Oh.
that. Who's our driver? I have only I have a +3 in drive.
Well, I've got the drive skill, and I took some feats in driving, firm hand,
Okay.
things
Well,
like
did
that.
you then?
Yeah, I got a 5 in drive. But
Yeah. Go for it, Shawn. You can be our.
yeah.
All right, I'm driving.
All right.
Flint.
Which is why my
Chauffeur.
search was so bad. I'm paying attention to the road or the trail.
That's right.
Fair.
With Flint driving, and the two of you also watching, keeping guard as you're driving along, it isn't long before you see in the distance light emanating ahead. It is so dark out here in the countryside, even though you're not far from major population centers within Cuba. It's dark enough out here that this area, it's kind of that wash illumination that kind of fills the place up, that you realize that there is something up ahead with a great deal of lights, spotlights perhaps,
Okay.
and it becomes more likely wise to go on foot from where you are.
Yeah. It looks awfully bright up there. We might want to hang back and not just waltz right in.
Yeah, I find a place to quickly pull over to the side of the trail, hopefully. So, it's not too noticeable that the Jeep's there in case we need it on the way back.
Sure. All right.
Okay. So you leave the Jeep a fair distance from what you believe is the base, hopefully out of patrol range, but close enough you could get to it in a pinch to get away. The cacophonous sound of local fauna masks much of your approach. Slowly making your way, sweat begins to trickle from your brow as you crouch in the underbrush. Sometime later, a large Cuban patrol passes near enough you could reach out and even touch them. A few moments later, they pass your position. One of the soldiers speaks quietly to a fellow, and the pair stops. Tensing and holding your breath, you prepare to spring, until the second soldier passes a small flask to the first, who drinks it. They share a small laugh and continue on their way. You slowly and soundlessly as possible exhale. The two men soon hurry after the rest of their unit, and you know that somewhere ahead of you, the light disperses through dense foliage, is the site photographed by a U-2 spy plane, the site of an alleged Soviet missile. And here is your job, to verify the truth and to lend a first-hand account to the reports for the photo analysts back home.
All right.
So, at this point, we're going to start up I'm going to need some tests done.
Alrighty.
Who exactly in your group do you think is going to go forward? Who is going to be investigating this? Are all of y'all going as a group? Are y'all going to spread out?
We should probably spread out a little bit, kind of fan out just a little bit. How wide is the area that we're looking at?
Let me pull that up here really quick. You're looking at, it looks to be an area maybe 100 to 150 feet across ahead is where the light is bleeding through. You notice that there is a great deal of forest, probably equivalent. A lot of broadleaf plants that kind of spread across the floor as well as the detritus. Some paths and maybe even the road that you had stopped on quite a ways back with your Jeep. You think that is also off to your left somewhere.
Okay. Well, we could probably, since there's enough of these trees and enough to obscure, us, or at least provide some cover, we could probably do an alternating, move forward slowly and cover each other as we approach the site. I can go ahead and move forward.
All right. For those of you who are moving forward, you're going to need to start giving me either a hide or move silently check. And I'm going to be looking for, at this point, only about a 10.
I got a 19 on mine.
All right.
All right. At 18. I move silently.
Yeah, I got a math, 23.
Nice.
Nice. As you start to make your way through the forest, splitting up a little bit, details begin to come through some of the leaves, and you begin to make out what you think is a large barracks. Looks to be about 25 feet across and maybe even longer in depth. And that's kind of off to your northwest as you proceed through the forest. And that is one of the sources of light. And you hear sounds of camaraderie, laughter, and such coming from within. You would guess that there are definitely 10 or more within that building.
Gross.
But of course the building still is at least 50 feet away from you, so you're not really in danger yet.
Okay.
But as you proceed through, we're going to need another test. And this time, I'm going to tell you it's a 15 as you proceed closer.
Okay.
15.
I got an 11.
Oh, I got a 9.
Oh! Crap. Shit.
You... As you're moving through, your foot, you think is a solid area of ground, but your foot sinks down into, and this is for Osprey.
Yeah.
Your foot sinks down into at least about 6-7 inches to detritus. That sound of crushing leaves repeatedly. And at the same time, Hemlock, you hear the sound of a twig breaking underneath your heel. You pause for a moment.
Those guys are partying though, right? So.
And you see what appears to be a flashlight coming through the forest in your direction.
I'm going to tell them to get down. And
Yeah, like I immediately drop.
Yeah.
I'm going to try
Osprey's
and
low.
talk my way out of it.
Well, just hide. They don't even know you're there.
Yeah,
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think that I can get in, possibly, or at least tell him to go the other way. I'm going to pretend that I am Russian.
Okay.
Okay. Crap.
Because I actually speak Russian like a native. So I can affect the accent and tell him that I've got lost in the jungle and that I saw people south of here that were trying to sneak in.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm still going. What are you doing?
So Flint begins to proceed forward and making a little bit more noise than you. The flashlight illuminates him, and you see the guard walking now with a little bit more confidence, but that flashlight appears to be attached to the end of an automatic weapon. And as he comes closer, he's like, "Who is that? What are you doing out here?"
I am not even going to pretend to do a Russian accent because that would just be offensive. But I'm going to be.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Oh, comrade, thank you. I've been lost in the jungle forever, and it wasn't until I saw the light that I knew I was close to the base. I'm one of you.
So you're speaking Russian?
I'm speaking English with a heavy Russian accent, trying to see, if he's Cuban, since he is Cuban, right? The guard?
Yeah.
And if he looks like he doesn't understand me, then I will try to speak Spanish in a heavily accented Russian accent.
Well, let's start off, and let's see. I'm going to say that this is a hard test, which means that you're looking at a 20. And you are trying to, I would say... Bluff, definitely. There's a laugh.
This is going well.
No! Oh no! Oh
with my
no!
bonus, that's a 10. But it's a 1.
Yeah, and you were with your bonus it's a 10, but you rolled a 1.
I rolled a 1.
Ooh.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe use an action dice, but even a 4 wouldn't. 4 more wouldn't help.
Nope.
The guard is like, no, and he aims the weapon at you and begins yelling out in Spanish, put your hands up, put your hands up. The commotion in the guard shack dies down. It's obvious that they have heard some yelling now. And so at this point, I'm going to say that you've probably got about a round. You can try to talk to him in heavily Spanish, heavily Russian accented Spanish. And I'm going to say that this test, I don't know where you're at with your bluff, bud, but I'm going to tell you, you're looking at a 25 to come back from that.
I'm going to try it.
He's got a +9.
Okay, but I will also say that our other players will be able to act and see what they can do in this situation as well. So if y'all have a plan after whatever he does.
Is anybody coming out of the building?
Not yet, but you're going to guess they're coming soon, and y'all still haven't gotten your evidence yet.
And we're taking pictures, right?
Yes, pictures of a Russian rocket.
Okay.
Now, if you guys can sneak away while I'm doing this, I'm more than happy to be the distraction right now.
Well, until you become the dead distraction right now.
I'm not going to be dead. I got confidence.
Okay. Well,
This is what I mean.
Okay.
All right. We're bringing out the metal dice for this.
Oh,
Oh, lucky metal dice. Okay.
I needed...
You needed
25?
a 25.
I got a 15 plus 9.
it's 24. Can you use an action
24.
dice?
Yeah, you can use an action dice afterwards.
Using the action
Let's
dice.
introduce the action dice.
24,
Okay,
27.
Nice.
So to explain to our viewers, Spycraft uses a augmentation that is called the action dice, which will allow my players to roll an additional dice, which is a D4 at the level they're currently at, and add that to their roll at any point. They can roll it before or after they've made their roll. But once that point is gone, guess where it goes?
To you.
I get your point to use in a future situation. But you did succeed. And so at this point, he is now like lowering his weapon. He's like, I thought that most of you had moved on.
The commander sent me in to verify some additional information that he wasn't clear on. I just needed to speak to your superior on the way up to the base. My Jeep broke down. I was trudging through the woods, the jungle, got turned around. It wasn't until I saw the light. But as I was coming up here to the south, I noticed flashlights that were sneaking up on the perimeter of the base.
Okay, Why don't you come with me? And he turns around and starts walking towards the barracks.
And I will follow him.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna wave at them to like
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I look at Hemlock and I'm like, well, I guess we're taking those pictures ourselves. Hopefully he says they were in another area, these flashlights.
To the south of where we are at.
Okay,
now.
okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead, and for the two of you that are trying to move silently forward or hide, you can use either skill at this point. Go ahead and make a roll.
Do I need to declare which one of them I'm using?
I would prefer, yes.
I mean, both of them are the same bonus.
Okay,
I'm
then
going to try
that's
and
fine.
move silently.
Yep, I'm moving silently. As I'm whispering under my breath, how stupid do you have to be?
I know. Okay, I got a 22.
22. Nice.
I got a 16.
There we go.
Sweet.
So Flint, what you're going to be seeing, and obviously everybody sees him continuing towards the barracks. And as the area opens up, the two of you, Osprey and Hemlock, you're coming face to face with what looks like a equipment shed. Corrugated iron, metal kind of exterior that runs about 25 feet long and about 10 feet wide. Very simple roof on it, which is why you have an idea of what it is. To your right appears to be some supply crates, but you watch as your comrade, Flint, walks out of the forest and starts walking towards the barracks. Flint, as you are continuing, you also see off to your left now is the dirt road that you would have come down. The barracks are huge, but on your immediate right, you now see a launch pad. Every bit as big as the barracks themselves. I mean, the two structures take up the majority of this open space. You're looking at about 25 feet in length, as well as about another 40 to 50 feet in width. And on it is undeniably and unmistakably a intercontinental ballistic missile. Beyond that, though, as you're walking, you also now pick out that there are about 5 or 6 vehicles beyond the barracks. All right. So, team, what are we doing?
Osprey and Hemlock, as far as this is going so far, we are headed towards we need pictures of the missile, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going probably, if there's a way to keep to the jungle, you know, skirt open area as much as possible, stay hidden, and continue to move around. So if we were coming up from, you said we were coming up from...
You're coming up from the south.
So how far do we need to go? Because Flint's the one who saw it, right?
Yes.
We have not seen it yet.
You probably see the top of this thing as
Okay.
you exit the jungle.
So is it on the other side?
Supply crates, are they open or are they all sealed?
They're all sealed. They're about, your classic Indiana Jones 5 foot by 5 foot crate. That's great for hiding behind. you know.
Or inside. Okay, so... And the area is covered in those too.
There's about 3 of them immediately
3?
to your right, outside of
Okay.
this equipment shed that's right in front of you. And
Was
if-
anybody in the equipment shed?
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like, it's empty. There are no lights on in it. So,
Do I want to go in the equipment shed? It's not our mission. Not our mission. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to make my way towards where the missile is. Do I see any guards between me and where I have to go?
currently, no. Which way do you want to go around the equipment shed? Do you want to go towards Flint, or do you want to go away from it?
Away.
You want to go away from? It's about another 15 feet around the edge of that equipment shed, and you're going to get full view of that missile.
I at least want to go. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as you're sneaking away, I kind of can't help myself and peek in to the equipment shed.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna move to the edge of the corner of the equipment shed and look around to see if I see anybody else or if it looks like my path is unobstructed.
Okay. So for Hemlock, looking into the equipment shed, the doors are off the hinges. It appears to be shovels, pickaxes, an assortment of tools, and maybe some extra generators, some fuel. So it looks like this is where they store everything that is necessary to keep a base running, that sort of thing.
Well, if I need to make a bomb, I know where to go.
All right.
If I hear you say that, I'm like, not yet.
Fine.
You will see that there are small groups of patrols now moving around this platform that the missile is sitting on.
Okay.
And maybe about 2 patrols, but they are paying very little attention. But this area is heavily illuminated.
Okay, fantastic. Well, my question then would be, I assume we have a camera or some sort of...
Yes.
Yeah, we have the point flash cameras, right?
That's right, the
Yes,
point
you
flash
do.
cameras. Do I know enough about them to know if I have the range to see the miss? Oh, I still need to go around the building though, don't I?
You're right at the edge of that building, and she had just looked into...
to the equipment cache. But, so do I have clear shot of the missile?
Yes, you do.
Do I know that the point flash camera can... Oh, wait, does it flash, though?
It does flash.
Oh, but only on the object.
Yes.
It's
it
like a
is-
bullseye lantern.
Exactly.
It doesn't... Okay.
Yeah, it does not do a huge illumination of an area. It's almost like it's a tube that focuses the flash.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Or so that's what the spies tell ya.
that's what our inventor said. Yeah, so I'm going to try to take some pictures of the you said it was an intercontinental missile? Yeah. I'm going to try to take pictures of it.
All right.
Especially since it's well illuminated, so, this would be as good as daylight.
Flint, the guard is walking ahead of you. There's a set of stairs that lead up about 3-4 feet and into the barracks. Another gentleman is kind of leaning on the outside of the door. He kind of stands up straight, looking at you as you walk out of the forest with the other guard. And this guard that's escorting you starts yelling out, "Hey, one of the Russians is here." So, what exactly are you doing?
I'll look up at him and just say, "Who are you?"
And gentleman is just like, we'll say that he's one of the corporals here.
My commander sent me out to verify that everything is as it should be right now. There were some doubts on the efficiency of guarding this location, and he wanted me to verify that everything was in order.
And he turns around and kind of yells in, and he's like, to some of whoever is within the building, "There's a Russian here that says that he needs to speak to our commander." You hear the sound of a few chairs sliding along the wooden floor, and several individuals stand up and begin to walk, not too silently, towards the door. You hear that staccato sound of multiple footsteps moving in your direction. So let's go back to our other part of our team for a moment. You begin to take pictures. Hemlock, what are you doing?
I'm in the equipment shed.
Swipe, swipe, swipe.
That's where I am. Shovels and pickaxes and fuel. I'm gonna come back out around from the equipment shed and start making my way around to where Osprey is, to try to get sort of a closer gauge of this missile.
Okay.
To try to figure out exactly not what purpose it's meant to serve, because that's obvious, but why it's sort of so ready and out on the open and like on the launch pad.
It is a rather unusual thing. Let's go ahead and... do you have any knowledges that would work with that, or do you this one go with mechanics?
I mean, I have like crafting knowledge and explosives. But if that doesn't make sense, I can go with mechanics.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and go for a general mechanics roll then. I can work with that.
21.
Nice.
Okay. So, you come around the edge of the building and you're looking at it. It is definitely an intercontinental ballistic missile. You're estimating this because of the size of it that it probably has over 1,000-mile range.
Jeez.
Which means that it could probably strike anywhere in the United States if it wanted to. The fact that it is, exposed and out in the open, unfortunately, to your mind, you're like, okay, I understand that they haven't had time to build perhaps an enclosure for it or something else of that nature, but it being out in the open, you just feel like somebody wants to use it.
Does it look like they're getting ready to launch this?
I mean, it doesn't not look like that.
Crap. Flint needs to be careful.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can get inside the building, I might be able to do some magic, figure out what they're trying to lock on.
Do we have a, like if we backtracked, can we see around to another entrance to the main building?
From where you're at, if you walked another 10 foot forward, you could see down the long end of the building towards the barracks. Okay. Or you would have to backtrack a good 50 feet along the edge of that shed to be able to spy Flint.
I don't know if we want to come up on exactly where he is if he's calling people to him. But you said there's another entrance?
So essentially, let me see if I can give you all a good description of this. Imagine that you're looking at roughly about a 70 by 140 foot wide and long area.
Okay.
On the left side, you have the barracks. Mm-hmm. The face that is closest to you is about 25 feet, and then it goes 50 feet away.
Okay.
Next to it, about 10 feet away from the barracks, is this launch pad where the missile is set up.
Okay.
Now, imagine, so you've got barracks, launch pad, and right below that launch pad is this equipment shed, and it's a very large equipment shed. Like I said, about 10 feet wide and around 30 to 40 feet in length.
I guess my question is would we have to interact with the patrols
to get
to the barracks?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
At this point...
Is there anything around the missile, or is the missile just sitting by itself? Is there any sort of what
console?
Looks like anything technical that they would use to set it off or anything like that, or is that all inside?
Most everything that is technical, you think might be up on the launch pad itself.
Okay,
and
so it's raised
and
up.
I actually should have said that would have also been a great moment to, if y'all wanted to use like a inspiration or education roll for that kind of a situation.
Okay.
But that's another mechanic that's in Spycraft that
I'm not used to that.
If you're not, if you're not a spy like most of us aren't, and you need an idea of things that would exist along this nature, that's a great role to use where you don't have to just search around. So, tossing that one out there.
Okay, so the launch pad is raised a bit.
Yes.
And so there may be a console or some sort of access terminal up on top of that. But we would have to pass. How many patrols did you say?
You would be out in the open, and there are about 2 or 3 patrols.
Like, are they circling?
They are circling the entire area.
Okay. I mean, we could go for it.
Now, I will say, your main objective for this is getting the
Just to take the pictures? Yeah.
photographic proof.
I would like to know where they're planning on sending it, though.
I want to know.
Do we go ahead and move forward?
Can we get under the launch pad?
I would say that it is possible. It'd be very hard, but it would require definitely some moves silently.
Okay.
Okay. Can we attempt to approach?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and let's see that move silently rolls. This is going to be, again, a hard test at 20.
21.
21.
Rolling.
Oh, I got a 19. Can I use an action?
Absolutely. I will gladly take that action point.
And I got a 1, so I hit a 20 on the nose.
Nice.
Ugh.
You skirt across the courtyard and begin to climb and crawl your way along beneath this launch pad. And I will go ahead and say that you think that in the darkness ahead, you may see some wire and conduit running. Perhaps someplace that you could access.
I can see Hemlock's joy from here. And I don't even think I'm looking in her direction.
I'm going to move forward and I'm going to start taking a look at the wires, trying to figure out kind of exactly what they go to, where they go. If there's anywhere that I could hook up my lovely little giant suitcase computer
Okay.
system that I have.
All right. Flint, while they are doing this,
Right.
5 people exit the building. So you're now essentially in a group of 7.
Okay.
The 2 soldiers that were outside, the 5 that arrived. 4 of the people just look like they're average soldiers. One of them, however, you see markings of obviously rank and various insignia on him that you're not familiar with, but you would figure that this might be somebody in charge.
Not that it's. Can I have cultures. Can I roll for that to see if I can determine his rank and what those medals might mean?
Absolutely. And what is this knowledge?
Cultures.
Okay. Yeah.
So I rolled a 16.
You know that some of those ribbons that he has would denote that he was a part of the overthrow along with Castro.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this
rank,
is...
Was he general or?
No. But this means that he was a part of the Liberation Army that Castro considered himself a part of. And that means that this gentleman is probably well decorated, perhaps very skilled.
Can I tell his rank just from looking at his insignias?
I'm going to say that you would believe he is a captain.
Okay. Okay, it was part of the liberation. Cool. When I see him coming up, I'm gonna be like, I'll be like, "Oh, good evening, Captain. You are the man that I was sent to talk to."
Really? And he begins to size you up a little bit. Go ahead and give me a bluff roll.
21.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. You beat me by about 4 or 5, so you're
Nice.
good.
Okay, nice. Because I'm sure he's taking in the fact that I'm in jeans, cowboy boots, a Western shirt, looking very un-Russian, but that's exactly what I want.
Well,
When Osprey saw you in that outfit earlier, she was appalled. So anyway, go ahead.
well, what exactly can we do for you? And he nods, and the 4 other men return inside the barracks. But the 2 other guards remain with him.
Honestly, Captain, if I'm going to be honest, my superiors, you know how superiors can be, are overly concerned about the elephant in the room, the missile that's wide out in the open. We are afraid that the Americans are going to see this and send people to stop it, to capture this missile. In fact, when I was on my way here, I saw people to the south of my location look like coming through the woods with flashlights. They were speaking, they weren't Cuban, they were speaking in American dialects.
Really?
I told the guard that brought me up, is he still with me?
Yeah.
Is he still with us? Yeah, I told your corporal, private, whatever.
He was a corporal, yeah.
Corporal, that I had seen someone. He was more concerned with me, obviously, than he was with alerting you that there were people out in the jungle besides myself.
He begins calling out for guards and soldiers, and he's like, sound all the alarms, get everyone up. And so it is cacophonous for those of you under the platform.
What the hell is he doing out there?
The entire area fills now with about 20 to 30 men.
Oh, good.
And you see Boots running along in front of the platforms and everything else, and the captain yells, take one of the trucks and one of the jeeps and go out that way and begin to fan out. Where exactly did you say they were?
They were, the voices I saw, the flashlights I saw were probably about 2 miles southwest of the front gate.
All right. And he begins yelling out to them, and they, about 10 of them get into the back end of one of the large trucks, and a jeep illuminates away, and everyone, you see obviously 2 vehicles pull away. A jeep and the truck begin to leave to the southwest from this spot.
Did that affect the patrols that are going around at all?
Everyone's paying more attention to that. The nice thing about this situation is that it is suddenly a lot louder, and you can get away probably with doing whatever you want down here. No one's paying attention to anything having to do with the launch pad. So Hemlock, what is it that you're trying to do?
I'm trying to figure out if this is locked on any location where they potentially may be sending it.
Okay.
The purpose of its existence here out in the open.
Can I assist in any way?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and do a roll with, what would you think, electronics?
Probably, yeah.
So, I mean, because it would be either that, because I don't think that this system has computers. I think
there's a computers on there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there is a computers and there also is an electronics.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would say probably, unless it is specifically like a computer system, like if I'm hacking something kind of rigged differently, that it probably would be electronics.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and then say electronics.
Okay.
And so you're down there underneath, and you open up this large satchel, which has a keyboard and a small data card printer. One of those key card punchers where it's like the large piece of paper. And you plug in and you begin to type in looking for information, and you're very thankful for the cacophonous sounds of all the men running around the vehicles, and it spits out a few cards.
This is the only time I like loud noises.
But
do we need to roll?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's go ahead and get some rolls on that. Let's
Okay. For electronics,
That is a 16.
I got a 9.
All right.
To assist.
So you are unable to assist.
Yeah, I didn't assist
But
very well.
Hemlock, you're able to print out these cards, and you're looking at it, and it looks like it has not been assigned a launch location yet. But you do see that it is actually a little bit shorter of a distance that it could travel, probably closer to more 600 miles, but that's still enough to hit most of the southern United States.
Can you, like, corrupt the launch pattern or anything? Can you just jack with it?
Oh, I'm sure I can play around, so it'll be much harder for them to re-access this missile.
I mean, that would be good. While we're here, I mean, might as well.
Oh, you are speaking my language.
All right. So, if you're going to corrupt the data, or at least corrupt it to where it would be much more difficult and probably require someone of equal or some computer expertise, let's go ahead and get that computer roll.
Can I attempt to assist again?
Uh,
Or since I failed the first time?
I'm going to
Stay
say
out
that
of the
this
way?
one is something that, because she's having to use the keyboards and
That's
everything else,
fine.
I'm going to say that this is directly for her.
Okay, cool.
That is a 21.
21, okay. For anyone else who's going to be coming
Nice.
along, it's going to require probably a hard success
Nice.
for them to be able to decrypt and repair what you've done.
Fantastic.
Flint, the captain has sent off this group of people, but the barracks are still loud. Things have definitely taken a chaotic turn. What are you doing?
I gotta start figuring out how to get out of here. Probably. So he sent off about 10 soldiers into the jungle,
Yes.
and we've got at least 5 that I know of in the barracks still, probably more.
Yeah. And of course there are the patrols. So there's about
Right.
6 people on patrol, and at least actually closer to 15 to 20 people with the barracks.
I guess I'm going to ask the captain, because since I came in through the front gate, I don't necessarily know that there were extra vehicles in the back, right? I wouldn't be able to see it from where I was.
No, you are aware that
Oh, okay.
yeah, you are aware that there are probably about still 8 vehicles back there.
I'm going to talk to the captain about. I'm going to basically make military small talk about making sure that everything is good, that the response time for sending out the patrols is what we're expecting, that it really does. I can report back to my superiors that the missile is truly in good hands, that this location is secure, and then ask if he has any available vehicles in his motor pool so that I can make my way back to Havana.
Let's go ahead and I guess bluff would work again in this situation.
Or diplomacy. I've also got diplomacy. I'd be kind of working the whole political angle.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go with diplomacy then.
Okay.
Be a diplomat.
12.
He rolled higher than you. I will say that he got a 16.
You cannot borrow my car.
In fact, he begins to question. He's just like, now that you mention it, how did you get out here?
Well, he said that already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I told him that my Jeep broke down
Maybe not to
on
this guy, but
coming up to the jungle.
I think you said it to the other
to the guard, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'll repeat that story that I had a Jeep and on the way here that it broke down and I couldn't get it started again and it is stuck on the side of the road. About 4 miles from the front gate.
I can send one of my men and a mechanic with you, but I cannot let you borrow one of our vehicles.
Well, it works for me. It really doesn't, but that's okay.
One person following you is much better than a than a whole squadron following you, or a whole platoon or barracks or whatever this is.
Slowly but surely, I'm sending everybody away.
Yeah.
He calls out and explains to 2 of his men, it's like, hey, you go get your tools. He needs help. His car is broken down. And he motions to the guard who you had come into the camp with originally. He's like, you're going out there with him. And the guard, of course, is just like, oh, great, babysitting.
As
I
if you,
truly do appreciate that, Captain. While we're waiting, it's been a while since I've had any food or drink. Do you think you might be able to accommodate me?
Sure. And he says, snaps off an order, and somebody a little while later brings out smell of coffee, really rich coffee, and what appears to be a tin filled with beans.
Rations. My compliments to the
chef.
chef, Captain.
So where you're all at this
while
point.
we were under there,
Mhm.
can I take pictures of the like missile launch terminal and stuff?
Oh, yeah,
I just want to take
absolutely.
more pictures of stuff. I'm gonna take pictures of everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I think we probably need to get out of here.
Yeah, probably.
Running out of things to say.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
Well,
thinking.
you have no idea where we are. You think we're
No.
I know.
No, I'm hoping you guys took the lead and are doing everything while I've got hopefully people distracted.
I'm hoping that we somehow are aware of the direction that the new patrols went to search for us, so we can go any way but that. So,
Thankfully, Flint's directions has sent them slightly away from where your Jeep was, as well as where y'all came from.
Yeah, except the Jeep's coming back.
But he's eating, and y'all are under there. I would say that this might be a great time for perhaps a inspiration roll.
okay.
I am willing to do an inspiration on my end because I have no clue how to extract myself from this situation at the moment.
Well, I think you just go back and we just take out the guard that you're with. But at least that's my thought.
Go back where?
Well, when you leave to go to the Jeep.
They already left. They're going to fix
No,
it.
they are going with you. The
they're
guard
going with
said
me?
he is going to be a babysitter. He's rather upset about that.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
mechanic's
gotcha.
going
Okay,
with
I'm
him.
sorry. I thought they were sending.
No,
Gotcha.
they want you to lead them to the Jeep and they'll fix it. And so
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
I think-
So yeah, I'm eating and drinking, giving them more time to do what they can do and hopefully extract themselves.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, not knowing that that's happening, I'm gonna say, Hemlock, I think we need to go ahead and head back to the Jeep.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so we peer out from under the. It's funny. I don't know what this looks like, this launch pad. So I imagine what my brain is conjuring is like under a wrestling ring.
That
and I'm
kinda
like
works,
peeking out
actually.
out from under where they keep the steel chairs, the steel chairs. So that's where I'm peeking out from, and I'm seeing if there's a patrol and if we have a clear shot to the jungle, and if I can orient myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Southwards, the way you came, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I need to. I
So
want
you're
to
looking at
get into
about-
the jungle, and once we get to the jungle, we can make our way. But
You're looking about 10 to 15 feet between the launch pad and the tool shed. Once you make it to that point, you're probably in the clear to go.
okay,
But that's about 15 feet to sneak.
okay.
It's going to be a 20. I will. I'm going to make sure that everybody knows. And last chance. Does anybody want to make a?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I did.
inspiration
I
check.
rolled an inspiration 17.
Excellent. Okay. While you're under there, you notice that you see the large conduit that was coming from the listening station. It was the 6-inch pipe of conduit, and it seems to branch off both to the barracks and to this launch pad.
Oh no.
And as you're looking at it, you're like, I would bet that conduit is electrical conduit. It's probably providing the power to this entire base. If you were to somehow sever that, either by shooting it or blowing it up, the entire area would go dark.
I have a survival knife, which has a serrated edge and can be used as a saw. If I can cut anything, if I can cut any of the wires.
You'd be risking electrocution.
Electrocuting. No, I know.
Okay.
I also have, yes, I'm aware.
I I mean, we
An
have...
explosive pen.
Yeah, as I say, I have an explosive pin. I also have a 1-pound bomb, but that sounds like a lot.
That's quite a bit.
That's
yes.
a lot of demolitions.
Let's not blow up the missile with us.
Yeah, we'll just launch it from here.
I mean, that's, total metagaming and out of character, but yeah.
Let's not do that. Yeah, no, I think the 1-pound bomb is too much. So yeah, I mean,
I look at you very excitedly, and I'm like,
yeah, I bring it out, and then I'm like, no, and I tuck it back in my pack. Later.
I go, fine, and I reach
when
into
we
my
go
pocket
when we
and
get
I go,
back to,
I
when we
pull
get
out
back
the
to the
pen.
listening station. Actually, we could do that from the listening post.
Oh,
Yeah, but if you take the lights out now, you might be easier
That's
to
true.
see
That'd
back
be
into the
harder to
jungle.
spot. So yeah. Well, is one explosive pin enough, or do we need to use 2?
You would think that one would work.
Do you want to give up yours? Or I can use
I will
mine.
give up my pen.
Okay, well then I use mine. I set mine up for there. Do I need to make a demolitions roll for that?
It's more of click and throw.
Click and throw. Okay, so do I make a throw at all, or I roll it all?
So let's see. For that, for throwing. I'm going to say let's just go ahead and do the demolitions.
Okay. So dice don't fail me now. That's an 18.
You click and you throw it, and it spins the air and lands point down right next to that cable. So it. Flint,
Get out of here.
Yeah, when you do that, by the way, I'm like, you gotta let me move.
Oh, sorry. Come on.
You're
Oh yeah, you have like a huge laptop that we have to
Flint, you're walking with the mechanic and the guard, and you see the explosive pen land in the dirt next to
can
that
see it?
cable. Yeah, well, I mean, it flies over, and it's not exactly hidden.
Oh, but I thought it was underneath with us.
Oh no.
I didn't think it was outside, so I was
You,
like, how can...
chucked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you chunked it because if you wanted to cut off power to both the platform and the
I
barracks.
Right.
cut it to the Y,
Yeah.
where it branches. Okay.
So, you see that fly out into the open, land there. Everybody else is like, huh? As
I
is
throw
the
myself to the
standard
ground.
movie pun.
Flint's like, shit. Running away.
These
And,
2 people are like sneakily running off.
and of course, you hear that telltale sound of, the explosion, large explosion, and all of a sudden the power goes down for the entire base. It is dark.
Nice. Run.
Boo,
So,
motherfucker.
Flint, I'm guessing you're going to take off as well?
I'm running. Yeah. Since I saw the pin, I knew it was coming, so I just started hightailing it, and I'm pretty sure the guard and the mechanic were both distracted by the boom.
Yeah. All right.
I
Okay.
see him going, I knew what it was. I got out of there.
Amazingly, the captain, the explosion happens, lights go down, the captain's like, it was a trick, everybody. Get those lights back up, get people out, get people to the vehicles, start heading south. They ran south. Or, says that you ran south. And you begin to cut through the jungle, running, all 3 of you, I'm guessing. I
Not
will point out,
silently either.
no, I will remind you that you also all have the night vision goggles.
Oh, yeah. So,
These
but
things
they're
are
huge, right? They're
they-
like binoculars.
Yeah, they are. They are big and they are bulky, but it would allow you to get, through the brush. And after a few moments, your eyes adjust and you can find your way.
Alrighty. So we head back to the Jeep.
You head back to the Jeep, and you begin to hear the telltale sounds of vehicles coming in the distance.
We gotta go.
Do we have an exit strategy? Like, are we supposed to send a signal somewhere?
No,
You-
we're supposed to get back to where the Navy is waiting for
Oh,
us.
okay. They're
Yeah.
just waiting for us. Okay.
Soldiers are waiting for you back on the beach.
So the good news is, at least from So that patrol that the captain sent out is to the southwest of where we're at right now. So we just drive straight back to where we came and keep going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
And
awkwardly jump in the back of the Jeep.
you begin to hear
Crap.
in the distance, your standard weapons firing in the direction with your headlights now on.
Crap.
And so,
Faster.
we are now in what is known as a chase scene for the system.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. So chases run a little bit differently, but from combat. But essentially, there are two people in a situation like this. There is the one that's going to be called the Predator, which are the vehicles coming up behind you, and then you will be. Let's see. I know that one is considered the Predator, and the other one is considered the Prey for the chase. Two most common roles that you're going to be making, and this is going to be for your driver. Who is your driver?
Flint.
I'm pointing at the camera.
Yeah.
I am.
Flint.
Doesn't help.
I am. I guess this Osprey's in the seat next to me, and Hemlock's in the back.
Yeah, and I'll get
that
out
right?
and I can get out my gun and fire back.
You will be able to. You two will be able to shoot at the vehicles.
Sweet.
All the while, Flint is going to be driving. This is going to be a contested role with you versus the other vehicles.
Sure.
Your most common role is pretty much you're trying to pull ahead. Once you are at least 30 spaces equivalent ahead, you will be able to disappear.
Okay.
You lose them. It's that is considered a finishing maneuver. Meanwhile, they are going to be trying to crowd you. They're going to try to run you off the road. But essentially, we're going to go through drive check maneuvers, and then we're going to also have our players shooting at them if they so choose.
Question.
Yes.
It is nighttime, correct?
It is nighttime.
And in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that going to cause a penalty?
This is going to allow everybody. There are going to be maneuver checks where there's a chance you could crash. There's a chance they could crash.
Sure, but I'm talking difficulty with marksmanship and stuff like that.
There will be.
Okay. If we have a flashlight, does that help at all, or hurt us in the chase?
It really doesn't help or hurt. You're
Okay.
seeing there. The way this game works with chase mechanics, they're expecting you to be shooting at their vehicles.
Okay.
Because it's too hard to really, hone in on that one shot for the driver or whatever else.
Sure.
I mean, even if you shoot at the driver, it's going to hit the vehicle more than likely.
Sure. Awesome.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll start off with that driving roll. You are trying to pull ahead, and they are trying to gun it to catch up to you, which really gives nobody any bonuses in this situation. All right. At some point, since it does look like you're going to be the driver, I would really recommend looking into the chase mechanics because there are other things that you can do.
Okay.
Okay? But let's go ahead and make your D20 roll with your drive.
20.
Nice. You were going to pull ahead 10 spaces. I'm going to say that you were already 4 spaces ahead when this all began from their furthest lead vehicle. And now everybody can start shooting if they want.
All right.
And
I'm going to start firing shots. So in a chase sequence, we all just kind of act on the same turn?
yes.
Cool. I probably missed. I rolled a... Yeah, I only rolled a 7. That was a pretty poor roll.
All right. It glances off the fender of the vehicle
Okay.
that you're aiming at. What about you, Hemlock? What are you doing?
I'm gonna try to shoot at the wheel of the vehicle that is following us.
All
One of the
right.
wheels. What am I rolling with?
You're going to roll to attack. This is a ranged attack.
Okay.
So with your weapon, rolling
Okay.
a d20.
That is a 13.
13? That actually is going to hit. Go ahead and roll your
Oh.
damage.
Nice.
Okay. Where are you? That is an 11.
All right.
Nice.
while it doesn't shred the tire, you know that you hit it, and it seems to buckle a little bit. It kind of veers a little bit when it's hit. This is where we're going to go ahead and say that everybody needs to make a special maneuver check. There is hazardous terrain coming at you. Obviously, trees and bushes and rocks hidden in the jungle ahead of you as you're driving through with your Jeep.
Okay, so what's this called?
I have
So this
firm
is
hand, so I get a -4 on all penalties for damage or terrain.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
not sure how that's going to work, but
This isn't going to affect, for that, it's not going to affect it, so this is more based on another drive roll.
okay. So we're rolling for drive, or
Yeah,
I'm rolling for
one
drive?
more roll for drive because a tree is coming out of the jungle in front of your headlights.
Oh no,
It's amazing.
an inch.
Yeah, tree jumps out in front of you.
16.
All right. You definitely dodge around the tree. Two of the vehicles behind you either slam into rocks or go off into ravines. You're now only being pursued by a few of them. Let's go ahead and let's get another drive test. I'm guessing you're going to try and you're going to go ahead and pull ahead again. Try and get it away.
Yep, pull ahead again.
All right, they're going to gun it. What you got?
11.
11. They begin to catch up. All right.
Start shooting.
So
Fire.
they are now 11 spaces away, but go ahead and start shooting.
All right, that is a 17.
And one of the vehicles that crashed was the vehicle you shot in the tire.
The tire out. Okay. So I got a 17. I'm firing
hits.
at towards the windshield.
All right.
So it hits.
Mhm.
I rolled a 12 for damage. So.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you notice that there is a pit ahead of you.
Well, does Hemlock get to shoot?
Oh, sorry, Hemlock, go ahead and shoot. I'm so
Oh.
sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I'm doing the same thing. I'm aiming at the wheel.
All right.
I know the other ones crashed, but that is a 16.
All right, hits and damage.
That is a 9.
Nice.
All right. So, the two vehicles, one of them, again, kind of swerves when the tire is hit, and also your windshield shatters on the other vehicle, which now we need to do our drive check based on terrain. So you notice that there is a ravine or a pit ahead of you, and you're going to need to veer around it.
16.
16, you make it. As you veer ahead,
Yeah, I'm like,
one of the vehicles hits
Like
that
we're on Star
ravine
Trek.
dead on and kind of twists on its side and begins to plow down into it. Another vehicle,
Sorry, got this. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
the other
can you
vehicle
actually drive?
jumps
I'm
it
driving.
and crashes into a tree further in the jungle. You now only have one vehicle left behind you.
All right.
All right, so go ahead and make your next check to pull ahead.
Yeah, pull ahead. 12.
12. All right. You begin to pull ahead again, gaining this a little bit of space between you and them. Not enough yet to get away. So, if people who want to try and shoot this vehicle.
I'm a shooting. Oh, that's a natural 1. So that's a threat.
Oh
on
my
mine.
god.
Yep.
I just
And
did
that's-
it too. I
Oh,
just got
no!
a natural 1 too.
Oh
Can we
no!
try not to shoot our Jeep?
I am, as the
I shot Hemlock. She shot me.
as control, your
Ow.
GM. I am spending 2 action points to activate your flaws with those weapons.
Okay.
What did y'all roll?
You want our total?
Yes.
I mean, we rolled 1s.
Yeah, but what would your total be?
5.
3.
All right, one moment here. So,
Why don't I hear shooting?
Oh, you heard shooting.
no, you're
No, okay.
this can be
Jammed.
a whole lot of different things. It could just be jamming. It could be catastrophic
Do you
failure
want
of the
me just-
weapon.
I mean, at that point, I'm just going to chuck it. The car behind us. I've got another one.
In fact, we're just going to go ahead and say that both guns jam. And
Son of a bitch.
Shit, this is why I don't like guns.
and Hemlock,
fuck.
yours is going to be rendered useless. Even clearing the jam is not going to heal it. All right.
I throw it to the ground angrily.
All right.
And it goes off.
Go ahead and make your drive check. For terrain, this time looks like there is a large rock.
14.
14. You again skirt around it. Your fender bounces off of the rock a little bit, but the vehicle behind you plows directly into it.
Shithead.
All
Not
right.
you, sorry.
And
I mean,
as
maybe you.
you speed ahead, you begin to see the breach of the forest, and the vehicle jumps out of the forest and back out onto the savannah.
Looks like we're home free, guys.
And we are going to do a flashback as you break out into... After all, everybody's wondering what's going on, right?
Right.
Our team finds themselves instead on this day that we were previously in the jungle was October 20th. You find yourself instead now on the streets of Washington, D.C. on October 1st. You are all exiting out of the CIA's main building, carrying boxes in your arms. Ahead of you is a short, squat gentleman, thinning gray hair, bald pate on top, large handlebar mustache, and that classic Western-style suit. And he is walking ahead of you. As you exit out onto the CIA building, you end up on the street. It is crowded out here, but you are walking, carrying your boxes. Inside those boxes are pretty much everything that you brought to the bureau with you. And he begins talking. All right, now let's get down to the brass tacks on this one. And he turns around as he's walking, looking at the group of you. So, Director McCone is playing Who's Your Daddy with the politicians on Capitol Hill, all the while poking every hornet's nest that might have the word communist attached. You know, with the sharpest stick they can find, and call it surgically precise operations to disrupt emerging foreign enemies. And at the same time telling the FBI and Congress to disperse military weapons to law enforcement to combat radical elements in the United States, which is an elephant manure-sized breach of interest. You walk across the street and into another building, and he flashes a badge, and everybody walks through metal detectors. And after you pass security through this next building, he starts following along behind you and passes you again. Now, meanwhile, Johnson's shaking his stick at every senator and representative who stares at him too long. And President Kennedy has now declared that we are trying to get a man to the moon. Pentagon generals have largely taken their ball and gone home and refused to share because they're more worried about Vietnam and Senator Mansfield's upcoming inspection in a few months. Now, and he's waving around, well, I guess you could say American intelligence is becoming an oxymoron. And you exit out of the other side of the building. He basically, you go through security, and now you're exiting out the building, carrying your boxes, continuing. You walk for a few blocks. So, as you can tell, the CIA has largely been decimated after a breach of info and being declared the scapegoat for what the globe is now calling the Bay of Pigs. So, with our last director gone and our senior agents being forcibly retired and our veteran officers being redistributed to other agencies, and you, well, By week's end, you won't know a soul in that building. You begin to pass the Washington Mall, and you see people out there walking along with signs, dressed in the, very colorful protest clothing of that era, walking along, chanting
I
things.
remember my protesting. I'm 21, by the way.
Yeah.
It was like yesterday.
So what's this mean for you? I know you got to be asking yourself. So you're being reassigned as well. Now you've been handpicked by Director Clancy for use in the field under the direct supervision of XCOM. That's the president's new play yard for the otherwise known as the Executive Committee of National Security Council. Which is to say he's putting all the schoolyard bullies in one room and telling them to play nice. Now watch your step. He brings you into another building. Now don't worry, you'll likely never have to go there yourself. Director Clancy will be taking all of her directives from them, and you'll take your orders from her with me as your liaison. Now you got any questions?
What'd you say your name was again?
My name really isn't important, but you may call me Mother.
I'm not going to do that. Is there somewhere we can put this stuff? It's heavy.
We're almost to our office.
We know, Mother, that this is going to be any different than what happened with the CIA.
Quite frankly, with everybody out on the field for the CIA and everybody pretty much not able to do anything, we are at an intelligence loss and we are falling behind. So right now, I can't even begin to explain all the politics of it, but we need teams that are capable of rapid response under threat. So we are going to be working with several different assets. You got a question there?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, I'm not going to partake in any witch hunts. I was about ready to leave the CIA myself because I was tired of being directed towards, radicals that were just wanting a better future. Now, if it's a clear and present danger, I am all for it.
Well, that is essentially what we will be doing. Now, you got any other questions on this?
Where's my desk?
This way. And he begins showing you through a stairway leading down. For the most part, you haven't passed any people in this building. It looks to be largely abandoned.
I'm very awkwardly going down the stairs with this box of stuff that's heavy. Like, oh my god.
So each one of you was handpicked for various reasons, and I'm doubting any of you ever worked before together. So once we get here, and he, at the end of a hallway, after you've descended down into this basement, looks like there are stacks of school chairs and desks pushed up against the wall. As he passes one of them, he holds up a key card in front of what looks like just a standard white panel. And you hear an electronic lock pop, and he pushes open a door. This is going to be your new home. And he...
Great. I immediately drop my shit.
turns on a light, and this building, you're guessing, might have been at one time a school, or at least designated for some sort of training purposes or teaching purposes. Again, largely abandoned and empty. This room, however, is filled with equipment. Teletype is going off in the corner. There are various large, the full cabinet computers in here. It is kind of warm, but there are also a slew of desks and a coffee maker.
Ooh, I'm home.
So, why don't y'all introduce yourselves to each other? And he just props up on one of the table, not even bothering to sit in a chair.
I am MJ. I have just relocated. I had only just relocated from south of England. I was part of MI5 there. Received an invitation and then all this. But yeah, so MJ is, as I said before, average build, average height, about 5'6" or so, and long dark hair, relatively straight. She would be wearing professional clothes of the time, probably a pantsuit, something smart, and wear no glasses. Carries herself with an air of confidence, but stays pretty quiet, is more of an observer and a listener than didn't have a whole lot to add to the conversation. She finds Mother to be quite brash and actually rather irritating. So she puts her stuff down, but yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. And you are? Whoever wants to go next.
As I've said, Hemlock, I drop my shit. I start going through my boxes, excited by all the computers, kind of listening to what Osprey's saying, but like not really, and looks up and looks around the room and looks at the computers. Goes, yeah, and goes and sits at a desk and puts her sunglasses on, sort of starts typing, and is like, yeah, I'm Hemlock. I came out of MIT. I'm probably smarter than you.
Well then. So she
just continues typing and like playing around and working.
Yeah. Osprey makes a note of that. And just...
Well, Osprey's introducing herself, and Hemlock is going gaga over the computers and the tech. I find a desk, sit down, kind of put my feet up on it. Riley is dressed in faded Wranglers, comfortable cowboy boots, big belt buckle, blue plaid Western shirt with pearl buttons down it, blonde hair, green eyes. He's about 6'10", and he just kind of smiles at Osprey, and he goes,
6'10", he's a big boy.
Did I say 6'10"? I'm sorry, 5'10".
Okay, I was like,
wow,
I was like,
dang.
Not that big, 5'10".
I was like, we're not going to be hiding anyway.
Just hide behind
good
me.
thing you know how to talk, boy.
And he just kind of smiles at Osprey, kind of looks over at Hemlock, and is like, well, my name's Riley. You can call me Flint, because I'm from Texas. I was part of the CIA, and like I told Mother over there, I was tired of being sent out on witch hunts. You know, they kept coming to me saying, hey, investigate this. This is a danger to our country. And none of it ever was. It was just people trying to make a difference. So.
That's not an opinion that most agents have, as far as I can tell.
Not most, but I figure America is the land where you can have an opinion. And I don't quite agree with shutting those opinions down. Right, wrong. As long as you're not a danger to the country, I don't see the problem.
Hemlock kind of laughs and runs a hand through her very dark mohawk that she's got, and just kind of goes, okay, and just keeps typing.
I kind of, when Flint says that, I do look at Mother to see how he responds. She also has made a mental note. She was, and when Riley goes, I'm from Texas, she's like, no shit. So, like, I've seen enough of this country to know where you're from without you having to tell me. But she internally, she is not aware of, or I am not aware that someone who believes in people making a difference she's kind of stunned that you're an agent for the CIA, because that's not entirely their MO.
And when I see the look of disbelief, I kind of put my feet down, I sit forward, the accent goes away, and I like, make no mistake. If it is a danger to this country, I will fight it, I will end it, I will stop it. But until then, it's just all good.
Well, sounds like you're the kind of people that Director Clancy would like. After all, she did pick all of you. Now, before we get into it, I might as well explain what all you have access to here. And he begins rattling off various things. He mentions that any of your old contacts, feel free to continue to reach out to them as members of whatever agency you are a part of. But for the most part, you're not that anymore. But you still have credentials. You're still going to be doing what you did before. But he begins to talk and drone on, and we jump back to the future. And our group finds themselves making its way to the coast, departing and leaving behind the boat, or behind the jeep, and making your way now to the boat. It has been... What was that?
No, go ahead.
It has been 2 days now since word came to you that the Director of Naval Intelligence revealed to XCOM the presence of a nuclear missile silo in Cuba, or at least what he believed was one. I believe it was a U-2 plane had passed overhead and taken photos, but the exact information needed to be confirmed by direct eyes. This wasn't exactly something that was high resolution, could be claimed as anything. Now, the day after that, so you were dispatched on the 16th, and as you're traveling on the 17th, word comes along from Mother that Russia has launched its newest spy satellite, known as the Cosmo 10. And with this satellite, they say that Russia is now capable of taking photography from space. They don't know exactly what that means right now. They will find out and they will let you know, because this may affect your missions. But that night was when you were given the green light, and you left the Essex by boat with this team and departed for Cuba.
Okay.
All right?
But we're headed back to the Essex now.
Yes. So you make your way along the coast and find this Special Forces team. They motion for you to join them by flashlight, and you make your way back to the Essex. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and let everyone know that it is nearing 7:50, and this might be a good chance for everybody to take a brief break.
Okay.
If that's all right. We're going to go ahead and take about a 5-10 minute break. Can we put the 10-minute screen back on?
I'm going to put the 10-minute screen back up. Yep.
All right. And we'll have everybody join us back here in about 10 minutes at 8 o'clock. And we will continue our tale for about another hour.
All right. We'll see y'all in just a minute.
See y'all.
There we go. Hi, welcome back. Almost had the same issue again. Thank y'all so much for hanging out in chat, and we're going to start back up with our Spycraft game. When we last left our intrepid agents, they had made their way back to the USS Essex at this point.
Essex.
Essex.
Okay. When you first started the game, I was like, what was the name of our ship?
Yeah.
All I heard was this. So,
Yeah. Yeah, what can I say? So,
that's my bad.
once you make it back to the USS Essex, that is a hard word for me
Yeah,
to say.
you keep saying USX. You want
Yeah.
to say USX. Yeah. Unless you want to say something naughty, which it's not
You
I
never
haven't
in
know.
said any naughty words yet tonight.
No naughty words.
None.
None at all.
Roxy, your cord is tangled around your guy
is
there.
it?
Oh, yeah, it is. There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It would have become very obvious, like when I tried to like adjust in my chair and my headset went, ugh. So, thank you. All right, so what are we doing?
Once you make it back, you are loaded onto a Sea King helicopter, and you begin the flight back to Guantanamo, which is now at the southernmost tip of Cuba. Once you make it to Guantanamo, you are then loaded onto a transport and flown to the Naval Air Station in Florida. And when you finally make it there, disembarking from the transport, you finally meet
Mother. I see him walking down the tarmac or whatever, and I'm like, ah, great.
And make
guy.
this exact face.
Yeah, this guy.
Man, I'm like, wish he'd
Aren't
wear
you guys
something
like old?
besides
Aren't you?
antiquated Western suits.
And I look at what you're wearing. I'm like,
Hey, this is quite modern.
Is it?
It is. In Houston.
I rest my case.
that's right. The defense or the prosecution rests. So,
Well, hello and welcome back. So, excellent work, agents. Looks like thanks to you, we're now going to confirm the construction site that was spotted by a plane.
oh yeah, we can confirm.
So, until now, only America has been capable of first strikes, and thanks to our missiles positioned in Turkey and elsewhere. Now, this is clearly an attempt by the Soviet Union to equalize the balance of power. As we speak, President Kennedy has given a national address in which we will make clear it is, the activity in Cuba is unacceptable. Now, it falls to us to follow up on that threat, and the agency is going to be dispatching you to Berlin to evaluate the Soviet forces stationed there and their state of attack readiness. Now, we're certain that the numbers are superior, that their numbers are superior to our own in Germany, and we're at a loss about their specific combat strength. If they're preparing to go to war with us, we need to know now. So we're going to be sending you, and I need y'all to be thorough and quick. We're counting on y'all.
So they want us to figure out. This is out of character.
Yeah.
They want us to figure out combat strength for German forces in Berlin.
Russian forces.
Russian
The
forces.
Soviets
yes.
that are stationed in
Soviets
Berlin.
stationed in Berlin. Okay.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're going to have some questions, and he's walking down the tarmac towards a hangar.
So what kind of support can we expect to have in Germany, Mother? Do we have any agents already there?
So we do have assets from the CIA that are currently in Berlin. We have some information and some intel that we're going to be sending you to. But that is kind of an interesting thing. It really comes down to getting you across the wall. So yeah, he's kind of wrings his hands a little bit at that.
So are you leaving it up to us to get across the wall, or do you actually have a plan?
Well, we have two possible outcomes here that we need to discuss. One is covertly going over the wall and trying to make your way past patrols and through a minefield. Do y'all sound like that's something you want to do?
Not really.
No.
Does it look like I can deal with a minefield?
Not particularly. Which is why there is the other option that CIA assets have brought to our attention. And he continues into the hangar. So, that other option is the fact that in Berlin we have reason to believe that Soviets have been turning up at some of the nightclubs. I know that sounds kind of bizarre.
God, I'll take the minefield.
You mean I have to socialize?
I think we can do this.
Well, from what I understand, there is a specific club that these Russian officers have been spotted in. It's called the Riverboat in Wilmsdorf, Berlin. And ultimately, you could either figure out how exactly they're getting across, because they're supposed to be stationed on the other side of that wall, doing whatever it is that y'all do. However it is that you think you can get that information or follow them. As you walk in to this hangar, you're now in pretty much kind of a concierge lounge area. And on the TV, as you pass by, you see President Kennedy giving an address, and his voice is very clear and strong, and very much not at all like this Texan who is going to try and do his voice. But
You don't have to try to do his.
we will not prematurely
Oh,
or unnecessarily
go ahead.
That wasn't half bad.
It wasn't actually. It actually wasn't.
or unnecessarily risk the cost of worldwide nuclear war, in which even the fruits of our victory would be ashes in our mouth. But neither will we shrink from that risk at any time, which must be faced. And so Kennedy begins to address that it looks like the U.S. is going to start a blockade around Cuba.
Well, I'm glad we got out of there.
I was just gonna say I got out in time.
Yeah. I would tend to agree. You see, things are not exactly going quite to the way we expected. While you were in Cuba a day ago, on the day of your arrival, the Russian ambassadors met with JFK and all of his cabinets and chief of staff and said that any operations that they are doing in Cuba are purely defensive. I think we can both agree at this point that is not the case.
It's the weirdest looking shield I've ever seen.
Considering that missile we found was what, Hemlock? It was direct. Was there a location?
There was no location. It's about
Good.
the launch radius is somewhere around 600 miles. But I did, of course, hack it, so it's gonna be a little hard for them to to do anything with it when they go back to set it up. So
That might be the best news I've heard all day. I'd recommend you for a medal if they actually gave them out.
I'm not big on shiny.
Well, at the same time, so the other side of all this is that, this morning, Defense Secretary Robert McNamara suggested that we blockade, and obviously this address tonight is exactly what we are doing. And only because, it's kind of odd, but JFK decided to listen to him rather than go ahead and start World War III. Let's be thankful for all our small favors.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been pointless what we did in Cuba.
Yeah.
Well, we would have known where one missile was coming from.
Or not coming from.
Or not coming from.
Well, all things considered, this is the fun part. To inform you that we are going to be going into a serial code black. That means that you are going to have the height of whatever assets, gear, and equipment that you can muster from our agency. It will be at your disposal. That said, we still got to get you to Germany. And he begins to walk out the terminal. And ahead of you, in this large hangar, you now see what looks like an SR-71 Blackbird. I hope none of y'all afraid of heights.
No.
Is that a
I'm good.
is that a helicopter?
The SR-71 Blackbird,
it's a
that's the stealth
jet.
plane that the U.S. developed in the 60s and
Okay.
used.
I mean,
The height of technology in the 60s.
Yeah. Pretty much could outrun any other plane or any other jet at that time, and could also fly higher than most of them.
Yeah, I know how this works. I've seen some of the blueprints and some of the systems.
Oh, this here is something that's going to be kind of interesting. You see, this is the SR-71 Skunk Works F-12. As far as we know, there's only 3 in existence. Now, I think the other 2 are currently owned by NASA, used for training and things of that nature. But that means y'all gonna have to get into these. And he motions to a desk, and there are what look like, I think, almost cosmonaut suits.
we have to have flight suits?
Oh, yeah. This jet will travel at a rate of speed and a height that pressurizing cabin is no longer an option. You will have to rely on oxygen through these suits during the brief travel to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany.
A brief.
Yeah. I was gonna say, from Florida to Germany, it's not as brief as you might think, Mother.
From the
Briefer.
SR-71, from what I've heard, it is going to be brief.
How fast?
I
do we-
guess it depends what your definition of brief is.
Hey, look at it like this. Didn't y'all ever want to be an astronaut when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, there was no such thing as an astronaut.
They're wearing the books.
I mean, I like space. I've been into
I guess I am
NASA's
only 24 or something, so I guess there were
confidential
cosmonauts and things.
papers before. I may have played around in NASA's systems. It's not important, but I may have done it.
Now,
Actually sounds like fun.
this, of course, is where I will be departing. Do you have any questions for me before you go?
Yeah, you are. You do have a pilot for us,
Did you
correct?
make us
Oh, yeah.
lunch? Did you make us lunch, Mother?
Would you like lunch?
Not before we make this flight.
I wouldn't recommend it. You haven't heard the best part yet. Oh, and here comes the pilot right now. Gentleman is walking out already in this gear, this kind of cosmonaut suit, and walks over and nods to all of you.
Afternoon.
Yeah, he will be your pilot directly there. This is. He does not need to know your name. You do not need to know his. And he is transferring equipment where he will be on hand in Berlin to be prepared for flyovers for reconnaissance. And the pilot just nods.
Does he
and-
look familiar? No? Okay, I was gonna say. Is there a
I'm
role
s-
I can make? I mean, is this
I'm
like...
still waiting for the best part of this, Mother.
Oh. You want to show them? And the pilot this kind of shrugs and walks over to the ship, climbs up a ladder, and flips a switch. You see 2 panels of glass begin to elevate and lift up. He essentially climbs in the front one and begins looking at various papers, flipping through a few things, and doing essentially pre-flight check. You're looking at it and you're realizing that only one person can fit in the other canopy.
And the other 2 are going to fly where?
Well, that's where these come in. And he walks over to what looks like some crates. And you see what look like, I think, metal coffins, about 7 feet long, with a view glass at the end of it.
You could just barely fit, Flint, with your 6'10" friend.
5'10". 5'10".
I know. Are you
Hemlock
kidding
kind
me?
of scoffs and looks over at Mother and just goes, "Motherfucker."
Now. None of that damn language here. Now, two of you get to fly in one of these in the side panels, and one of you all gets to fly up top. I'll leave you all to figure it out. You sure you got no other questions for me?
Yeah. How do I get out of this now?
Oh, come on now. Isn't this what you signed on for? Save the
Not in a
world and get some glory?
flying
I'll go ahead and I'll volunteer for one of the coffins.
I'll take the other coffin. I think Hemlock could probably get some intelligence while she's up in the cockpit.
She'll probably
More
learn
so
how to
than
fly
I would
the
ever be
damn
able to pick
thing.
up.
I'll take it. I don't like enclosed spaces.
Like the canopy's that much better. It's yeah, exactly.
I get to look at the gadgets.
Yeah.
That's right.
It soothes me.
Like I said, it'll. If you don't know how to fly that thing after a few hours in the air, then that's something's not right.
I could probably fly it now.
Well, let's
Let
try
the-
that
the
another
professionals
day.
do it.
Let's try that another day when I'm not in a metal coffin in the side of it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
You almost have to cross your arms across your chest getting into these things.
I've made several transatlantic flights, and I have learned to sleep the entire way. I'm just going to hope that this oxygenated suit helps in some way.
You enter into these things standing. But as you're in them, they are tilted onto their side, raised up over the wings and into panels that are just behind where the co-pilot's chamber.
Is this thing going to be loud or what?
It's going to be loud.
Hey, I always like window seat when I fly.
Do we have earplugs?
Sure. You're loaded into this thing, and then the front cover just descends over it. You are in darkness, the two of you who are in the back.
We have any kind of radio headsets that we can communicate?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, all you hear from Flint right now is like, nope, 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 nope.
I remember you volunteering for this, Mr. Flint.
Yeah, and I'm regretting every moment of it now.
Just
Now, the nice thing for Hemlock,
Breathe.
though, is that this cockpit is actually fairly roomy. There is about a good 2 to 3 feet
rub it in.
front of you. All the computers and panels that you could imagine directly in front of you is actually a small CRT monitor, and you had just begun to hear about these things.
My whole body is shaking. I don't know what that accent is.
my whole body is shaking.
Hemlock gets very excited.
That's right.
But this SR-71 takes off, gains altitude quickly, and enters the upper stratosphere. It is almost like going into space. All around you is darkness. You can actually see the stars. And yes, the cockpit, after, say, 10, 20,000 feet, begins to lose pressure. There's a certain cold to the atmosphere, but you rely on your suit. As you're traveling along, at one point, it descends and refuels, meeting up with another jet that refuels it in midair. For that brief moment, you're back down just above the cloud level. The jet flies away again, and you take back up. All in all, from Florida to Germany, it takes you less than 8 hours.
It's a little
really
less.
regretting that cup of coffee I had before we left.
Yep. Oh, actually, I
Oh.
will trust the gentleman on his way to his doctorate and say that sure, the Blackbird can make the trip in just over 2 hours.
Dang. That is flipping fast, y'all.
Yeah.
That's good because I'm less regretting that cup of coffee now.
Yes. I don't know. I think your suit's already somewhere on the way up. But we were not trained for this sort of flight maneuver.
But the jet descends, and you begin making your way down through the upper stratosphere and through the cloud levels, and finally landing with kind of a loud jerk on the tarmac there at the base in Germany.
It wakes me out of my slumber, if I could sleep at all with all the noise and rattling. Good night. A
Yep.
Blackbird cruised at better than 2,000 miles per hour.
The pilot.
I gotta get me one of these.
Yeah. The pilot helps you disembark, Hemlock. He's just like, give it a moment, your blood will come back to your legs. It takes a second. It's going to feel like you're walking on noodles.
I was gonna say I kind of fall over.
I'm pretty antsy. Like, come on, guys. Hello.
Buddy,
Yeah.
please.
Hello?
I mean,
Flint and Osprey, it takes you a moment, but during different parts of the flight, you also have had interesting moments of
blacking out.
more having some vivid dreams. A little
Okay.
bit of hallucination as different points the blood has rushed to your feet.
So we got the flight with the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. In-flight entertainment.
Some existential crisis
Yeah.
based on being
What
locked
is-
in a coffin.
What is my
Yeah,
life?
yeah, the panic attacks were real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says, well, this is the fun part where I'm stuck here for about 30 days while the plane is refitted after every flight.
Jeez.
So,
So we don't have a way back, right?
Yeah.
Anytime.
y'all aren't going back this way.
Okay.
But after what seems like probably still an eternity, Flint and Osprey, you are unloaded from these coffins.
Good. Fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is not something I want to repeat.
We
Are
sort
we-
of like unceremoniously like
Yeah, flop
'em
down.
open.
They just dump us. Are we like in a hangar? I mean, I assume we're not like necessarily
yeah,
in a
no,
public
they-
place. We're in a
They unload you into the hangar, and a few agents walk up. So, welcome. I guess you're Flint, Osprey, and Hemlock.
Correct.
All right. Well, we've got some coffee for you, and come on this way. We'll get y'all set up. This is our CIA headquarters for the most part here on the base.
What base are we at?
You're at Ramstein.
Oh, that's right. I should have remembered that.
So, this said, we're going to take a brief moment and pause a little because we need to talk about the upcoming scenario. And that is that, obviously, we had our pre-mission, and we're now going into the main mission. This main mission is going to be a Code Black, which gives you all new gear points and all new equipment points that y'all can spend on things for this situation. Based on the description that you have from Mother, this is going to be a much more urban mission rather than being out in the jungle or out away from everything. So that means that we need everybody to pick new equipment, new items, and I'm going to go ahead and pause game at this point. You're obviously in this base. You have access to everything. Is there anything that we need to go over with that? I know one of you has better access, I think, or something specifically that deals with access to equipment in the field.
Yes, as the fixer of the group, I don't think we ever listed our classes, but I have the fixer class for Osprey, and she essentially has procure as a feat, so I can get anything in the field as if I were at the home office, as long as I can call the home office or I have a contact that I can get in touch with, and then I believe it's a matter of spending budget points to dictate how long it takes to get him. But I mean, depending on the item, I think like it said, within like 20 minutes, I can get stuff anywhere.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say that with y'all here, that it's going to be treated as if you're at home office. So
Okay.
go ahead and we'll deal with everything.
So we
as
can
far
literally
as,
get whatever we want while we're here.
well, at this base. Once you're out in the field, definitely when you're on the other side of the Berlin Wall.
Sure.
It's going to be a different
But
thing.
that's the thing with the fixer feat, even in the field where I would not normally, if I can get them on the phone, I can coordinate it being dropped.
There we go. Okay.
So I may not have explained that properly.
No, that's,
but it's like I
that's
can
definitely a good thing to point out.
in
for
the
everybody.
field I can treat it as though I have access to whatever. So
All right. Anything else on that? Does anybody have any questions before next session with that?
So
as
you,
far as
you said
procurement.
code level black, so
Yes.
let me see the Spycraft
Yeah,
book.
right here.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
there's like a chart towards page 200-ish that talks about like the
How many points
bonus.
we get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can still maintain all the gear that we had on the previous mission.
Yes.
And then either add to it or take away based on what we get with these new points.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
with code black, you get an additional mission budget of 35 points, and then an additional gadget bonus of 6.
Nice.
And
what
I
was the
assume
bonus for Code Black?
for the
the-
mission,
Yeah,
35.
35, and then another 6 for gear.
Yeah. So it says during the gearing up phase of every mission. This is a fairly new system for me too, y'all. So anybody watching,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of dropping some knowledge on you here straight out of the book. During the gearing up phase of the mission, usually after the mission briefing, roll 2d4 and multiply the result by your charisma modifier. Then add your class budget bonus and an amount determined by the agency's threat code. So actually, we get more than 35 points.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can
That
each
was just the bonus for the Code Black, right?
Yeah. So we'll be rolling 2d4 and then multiplying by our charisma bonus, which mine is a whopping wait a second. What if your charisma bonus is only a 0? Does that mean a 0?
Just
Because
because
that's
of
how
how the
math works.
Just because of, I don't want that to be something that's going to affect the rest of the math. If you have anything that's multiplied by 0, put the total as 1, not just as a 0.
Okay, cool.
What about negatives? When we were gearing up for this
Damn.
mission, I just took away points for myself.
Yeah, the negative thing was confusing. Okay, what does it say down here? An uncharismatic new recruit receives his budget for this. He rolls a 3, so he receives a mission budget of 10, which is -2 times 3.
Which equals -6 plus his class bonus of 1 plus the threat code bonus of 15.
Okay, so he only gets 10. I see. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say,
So-
That's
feel
what I did when we
free-
were gearing up for this one.
Okay, well so you want us to at least have a 1?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you at least get a 1 for this one.
Yeah.
I'll stick with my 3 with my high charisma.
Well, yes.
Shut
Lucky
your
you.
hole.
Some of us.
And of course, anybody in the chat, if y'all have any questions on this system,
Yeah, this would be a great time to ask.
feel free to ask, because Spycraft, this system I feel fixes a lot of stuff, a lot of issues that a lot of people have with D&D. There is no racial bonuses; it's all based on department and class, and I really feel like you can do so much with this system. But yeah, love it. And of course,
I definitely like that because the department and then your class, because the department gave me a lot more language options. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so my mission budget would be 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times
And
1
I'm
is
trying to
3.
do this at this point so that coming up on the next game, everybody will have time. Next game will be in 2 weeks. Everybody will have a chance to go and pick out equipment and asking questions before games. That way it doesn't actually affect the our time on screen or anything like that.
And you really want us to try and fit. I mean, so like the 1960 source book is all about realism, but we're definitely going for that James Bond aesthetic.
Definitely, that is my goal. I don't know if I'm goofy enough or schlocky enough sometimes. But
Well, what I'm trying to say is
yeah.
like in the source book, there is a laser watch that will shoot a beam of laser. Right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is kind of off
Absolutely.
limit.
No. I want us to have some fun with this. This is about
Okay,
the
cool.
fiction. And quite frankly, adding
Lasers existed in the 60s.
adding the fiction to this situation keeps it from being too real. And if it gets too real, I don't think it's as fun.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that because then I can have some fun making going through that equipment list and gadgets and all of that and come up with some stuff.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Are we going to need or be given a vehicle?
If you want a vehicle, you're going to need it.
If we want a vehicle, we have to
Otherwise,
get it. Okay.
Berlin actually had public transit.
Okay, cool.
And they
Yeah.
and crazy enough, 40 years prior to this point, they had walking tunnels.
Okay, yeah. I'm
So
familiar
they
with
had
that,
both subway and walking tunnels, and it's really kind of cool.
I don't want to be that spy, guys, that we have to wait for the bus.
Well, there's a lot of buses, though. I mean, you have to. That's one thing that you have to remember that is different, especially for us in the 2020s or the 2010s, between us even now and Europe and the UK, is that their pedestrian and public transit is far more accessible, and they run buses like every 10 minutes. Whereas
Right.
here in the United States, depending on where you are,
It could be an hour.
they run. A bus runs maybe twice a day, depending on
Right,
where you're trying to
I
go.
just hope that Berlin bus driver is going to be prepared when we kick him out of his bus seat to do a getaway.
Yeah.
That is not the kind of people we are.
Aren't we?
Aren't we?
Aren't we? But yeah. So do we want to just take a minute and say other stuff? Do you want to do announcements or anything?
Yeah,
at this point?
absolutely.
Unless people have any other Spycraft
Yeah.
specific or shell game questions.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go ahead and toss out a few things, and if questions come up, awesome.
Yeah, some shows do all this stuff at the beginning. We like to keep it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I talk too much, and I've realized that. So let me stop right there before I talk too much about talking too much.
Okay.
You did great, John. It was awesome.
Well, thank you. So games that we have coming up.
Yep.
So on Tuesdays, we are currently running a game called Tomes of Isolation. We focus on games that are one player and one player only. They have no GM. It is they're a rare system that does this. So far, Dark Eye has done it and Call of Cthulhu has done it. There are a few more out there, but the systems I'm looking for are almost like choose your own adventure with dice. I'm not looking for like the GM-less like things where you still have to imagine what's going on and the game just gives you the general layout. I'm looking for a full plot line that I play through. So those are the kind of systems I'm doing, such as Call of Cthulhu's Alone Against the Dark, or the Dark Eye has what was the one that we did most recently? The Vampire of Havana.
We did. Well, the most recent one was Conspiracy of Mages.
Conspiracy of Mages. So that is our game that we're playing currently on Tuesdays. Other than that, we also have our Thursday game, which is Call of Cthulhu.
Which is on. We can't.
Yeah.
We're not going to be back next week. Next week we're actually doing a one shot. A one shot at summer camp, GM'd by yours truly. So
Yeah.
I
I'm a
will be
little
one
nervous.
of the children there.
Yes, John and Shawn will both be children there. So, and then someone else.
Yep.
Matt, I think. Will be another
I will
child.
say that currently we just had our next podcast drop from Seriously Let's Play, which is the Android Genesis system. Seriously Let's Play is everybody has a podcast, and everybody currently in the tabletop world seems to have a podcast where they play a whole bunch of different systems because we're always wondering what it's like. So right now we did an entire season of various kinds of cyberpunk games, games that fit within that genre, and the current one that is coming out was a all-thumb table with doing Android.
Well, Allfem with John as the GM.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing Android, made popular. If any of you ever played Netrunner or any of that, takes place in New Angeles. But yeah, it's the science fiction setting that Fantasy Flight put out for the Genesis role-playing system, which is what like Star Wars Edge of the Empire uses. There's another one, isn't there?
Pretty much anything from Fantasy Flight uses their proprietary dice, but Genesis is a very specific system now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So anyway,
well, the game that just came out, that's your favorite card
well,
game.
Keyforge, but
Yeah.
it's in Genesis. I was trying to think of if there was another licensed property, but anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a noir mystery where a private eye android is investigating their own murder. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, if you want some femme noir, find us on anywhere where you can get your podcasts, especially iTunes, Google Play, things like that. Seriously, let's play.
All right.
So,
And is there anything anybody else wants to go ahead and toss out there? Alyssa, you got anything you want to mention or anything?
Yeah. If anybody is a fan of web series, I wrote or created and produced a web series. The episodes are fairly short. They're between like 4 and 8 minutes. And we dropped episode 9 about 34 minutes ago at 6 p.m.
Nice.
today.
Nice.
We drop them on Thursdays at 6 Pacific
Fantastic.
time. And it's about a group of RPG players that live stream their games, and one night accidentally live stream the first night of the apocalypse and get quarantined inside their apartment and have to figure out fighting during quarantine, which is hilarious because we shot the first half of the season about 2 years ago and then finished the second half
nice.
this year.
After quarantine?
Literally right before we went into quarantine.
Wow.
It just sounds so
but yeah.
unrealistic. I just can't. I can't imagine a bunch of
Yeah, but
streaming
it's
role
called,
players.
It's called Total Party Kill.
Okay.
And probably the easiest way to find it is on Instagram at Total Party Kill Series.
Okay.
And we put out the episodes on Facebook and on IGTV on Instagram.
Fantastic.
And on YouTube. And you can find us on Twitter too at TPK_series.
Okay.
They're fun.
Fantastic. Awesome. I think I've seen one episode recently. Once we started talking and stuff, I was like, I need to watch more of her stuff. But yeah, I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes and stuff too. So.
And before we sign off, I definitely want
Shawn,
to...
do you have anything?
Yeah. Shawn, I'm sorry.
No, unfortunately, I keep
He's
trying
on.
to kick
He's
off
on
some kind of
everything
pain-
that we do. So.
Yeah.
No, it's fine because I'm just the tag along. I'm just the.
No, you're not.
You are
You're
not.
player.
You
You're
are.
official,
You are the driver.
passionately-
Yeah, you're the driver.
No, I'm trying to. Other than playing games with y'all and streaming in this format, I keep trying to kick off some kind of painting thing, but real life keeps getting in the way, and I just can't quite get that off the ground right yet. But
life.
it's something I
Yeah.
want to start doing. There's some streams out there already that do the painting, and just kind of a zen thing, just hang out, paint, chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right.
I do want to say we did get a new subscription during the show
Oh,
tonight.
sweet.
Dorkistan,
Nice.
Thomas, I saw you. Give us another subscription, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate y'all coming out tonight. We had a really good group and very active in chat. I really appreciate first Kai Cav. You and the Far Lane have been talking about all the planes and James Bond and spy stuff, and you love some Spycraft, and so we appreciate you coming out. We'll be back in 2 weeks at 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific for episode 2, so keep an eye on our feeds for that. Follow if you want to get notified, and this will go up on YouTube here in a couple days.
And one last plug that I'll do is going to be Crafty Games.
Yeah.
So Crafty Games made Spycraft, obviously where the name comes from largely. They also made the game Fantasy Craft. It's two gentlemen that I have a lot of respect for. You have Patrick Capera and Alex Flagg. Currently, they have a Kickstarter that is going on
That's
right
right.
now that is their
something.
Dollars to Donuts, which has already funded. And it is currently, I think it keeps on going. It is a wonderful looking game. It looks like it's going to be meant for all ages. Looks cute as
I was
you
gonna
know,
say
anything.
he even didn't he put out the
Yeah.
other day on his Twitter, Alex Flagg. Didn't he say that if you sent him a suggestion for a donut,
Yeah.
he would do his best to put it in the game. So if that sounds like
So-
something you're interested in.
I think he was going to try and use the game to make it just as a demo.
Oh,
I don't know
maybe
if-
that was it. Maybe
But
that was
so Dollars Donuts. But the thing is, Crafty Games came out of AEG. They were two of the guys that worked on role-playing games for them, and now they are doing their making games on the side. They're the ones that put out the Mistborn RPG and other things in the last few years, as well as the board game. If there's two guys that I think are absolutely in love with making games, it's Patrick and Alex, and I cannot recommend them highly enough after having talked with them. So just tossing that one out there.
Yeah, because I mean those source books they're absolutely gorgeous with the metallic silver in them, and
They are very much.
they're really nice books.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
All
that's
right,
where
we
we're going to go
appreciate
ahead and
y'all.
call it. Thank you all so much for coming out. To my players, thank you for putting up with me and enjoying the game. And let's hopefully meet up again in 2 weeks.
All right, we'll see
Definitely.
y'all next time.
All right.
Bye. Night,
All right,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.